Tired of the negativity? Looking for a shot of optimism? Well, I have an inspiring story to make you smile right after this. This episode of Misfits and Crackpots is brought to you by Well-Crafted Story. Is your team struggling to communicate your company's value and convert prospects into clients? Well-Crafted Story specializes in corporate storytelling for businesses around the world. Coach Jimmy Hayes Nelson, yours truly, Dr. Danny Brissell, and our expert team will fly to your location to work directly with your people, teaching them how to craft and deliver your company's story in a way that truly resonates and converts. Whether you're preparing for investor pitches, sales presentations, or client meetings, we'll transform how your entire team communicates your mission, vision, and value proposition. Don't let another quarter pass with missed opportunities. Get your free story blueprint today at freestoryguide.com and discover how the right story can become your company's most powerful business tool. That's guide like a tour guide. Your company's success story starts here. Visit freestoryguide.com now. You're just a well-crafted story away from 7 figures. Hello there, my friend, and welcome to Misfits and Crackpots. Short, inspiring stories for busy people. I'm Dr. Danny Brissell. This is a podcast for those interested in extraordinary stories about ordinary people and companies. Consider it your dose of positivity and inspiration for the week. Joel Barker said, "A vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world." This week's episode, a foolish waste of money. The newspaper headlines were merciless. "Utter absurdity," declared one editor. "A frozen wasteland," screamed another. Political cartoonists had a field day, depicting him as a fool throwing away the nation's money on worthless ice and snow. His colleagues in government whispered that he'd lost his mind. The land he'd just purchased was mocked as his icebox and his folly. The criticism stung, but Will had faced worse. Just 2 years earlier, he'd survived an assassination attempt on the same night President Lincoln was murdered. An attacker had broken into his home, slashing his face and throat with a knife while he lay in bed recovering from a carriage accident. He'd barely survived, left permanently scarred and in chronic pain. If he could endure that, he could certainly weather some newspaper editorials. Besides, Will knew something the critics didn't. He was thinking 50 years ahead, while they were thinking 5 months ahead. The opportunity had come suddenly. A foreign empire needed cash and was willing to sell. The price seemed steep. $7.2 million was an enormous sum in post-Civil War America. The nation was still rebuilding, still recovering economically. Many Americans questioned why their government would spend precious resources on distant, frozen land that seemed utterly useless. "What are we going to do with a wasteland of ice?" senators demanded. Will patiently explained his vision. The territory wasn't just land, it was strategic positioning. It was natural resources yet to be discovered. It was future opportunity. The price worked out to roughly 2 cents per acre for nearly 600,000 square miles. Where critics saw ice, he saw investment. Where they saw emptiness, he saw potential. The treaty barely passed the Senate. The House of Representatives delayed funding for over a year, continuing to mock the purchase. Political opponents used it as ammunition against his party. Newspaper editorials suggested he'd been bribed or had lost his faculties. The ridicule was relentless and widespread. Through it all, Will stood his ground and completed the transaction. What happened next vindicated his vision spectacularly. Within 30 years, gold was discovered, sparking one of history's greatest gold rushes. The Klondike brought fortune seekers by the thousands. In the following decades, enormous reserves of oil, natural gas, copper, and other valuable resources were found. During World War II, the territory's strategic military position proved invaluable. The fishing industry alone eventually generated billions in revenue. That $7.2 million purchase, it turned out to be one of the greatest real estate deals in history, worth trillions in resources and strategic value. The man who endured the mockery and saw past the criticism was William H. Seward, Secretary of State under Presidents Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Johnson. And that frozen wasteland he purchased from Russia, the territory so viciously mocked that it was nicknamed Seward's Folly and Seward's Icebox, became America's largest and one of its most resource-rich states, Alaska. See, friend, inspiration is all around us. You just have to look for it. Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another inspiring story about misfits and crackpots. Misfits and Crackpots is a production of Success Media, produced by Terrence Wishner. Sound effects by Alessandro Lucati, courtesy of Pixabay. Thank you for tuning in. If you love today's story, there's so much more to explore in the book Misfits and Crackpots by yours truly, Dr. Danny Brissell. Grab your copy now on Amazon and dive deeper into the extraordinary lives of those who dared to change the world. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with fellow misfits who love inspiring stories. See you next time.